for October 1st to order. Please stand for Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Allen. Here. Broughton.
Here.
Gurnall.
Here.
DePalma. Here. Cordella.
Here.
Marshall.
Here.
Thurman.
Here. Okay, at this time, we need to approve our agenda. Are there any questions or concerns regarding the agenda tonight? Would someone like to make a motion to approve the agenda as presented? That was by trustee Marshall. Would you like to say? All right, I have a motion by trustee Marshall, and it is seconded by clerk Allen to approve the agenda as presented. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. The agenda has been approved unanimously, so we can begin our meeting. Thank you, everyone, for attending tonight. First, we have our reports. And we have our regular treasury report, our general ledger report, our designated report, our reconciliation report, our building department report, and just to keep everyone informed, our new starts are down by 15 compared to this time last year. So last year was more of a booming year than this year. We have our recreation report, and our recreation director is here tonight. Fred, did you want to come up and say anything?
Sure. Other than any questions, I just received notice from the DNR today. Well, let me back up a little bit. We had some things that we had to take care of that DNR wanted, which the engineers had to take the lead on. And that's all been done today, which was some adjustments to the site plan to match up the scope items. That's all been corrected and submitted. That's for the 2016 and 17 grant. With the 2018 grant, we had our supplemental scores and our opportunity to add additional information, and that has been done as well. Our scoring is similar to what we've had in the past 2 years, which is a good thing. And that's about it. We're looking at some new programs, so like the indoor soccer program. Looking into that. We are getting very limited on indoor space. And our wrestling program might have to move back to the high school if they allow it. They took our space away at the middle school gym for junior high ponds. We're limited in space that way. September Fest went well. On my report, I said it was 90 degrees. It was actually 72 degrees. That was a cut and paste.
I had that highlighted, Fred.
Maybe where you work.
But our sponsors were very generous again this year. We had a couple of new ones, and they were mentioned. Thank you letter went out in the paper for this week. Anyways, Bob Marshall was a hit, of course. We appreciate him. And he's got quite a few awards, and nice to have him as our hometown cowboy. But anyways, any questions? I don't know who the new guy is up there. Any questions at all?
Undercover.
Huh?
Just a wig.
Thank you, Fred.
Yep.
We also have our Edna Burton Senior Center report and a CDBG report. So that brings us to trustees report. And Scott, would you like to start us off tonight, please?
Okay, we had a Parks and Rec subcommittee meeting, which we're going to be talking about a budget item a little bit later on. And good job, Fred, to you and Kara for your part in September Fest. I reading the few reviews that I read online. It turned out real well. Seemed like everybody was overly enthralled by the petting zoo, so I guess we should keep putting that on in the future. So, but good job. I know that's a big job. I think people show up and they just think that it all happens, but I know there's a lot behind the scenes that goes to making all that happen. So, thank you.
Okay, Dana.
My subcommittee didn't meet, so I don't have anything on the retirement oversight committee, but I did attend Septemberfest and the carnival, so and my kids and my family did, so I just wanted to say thank you to Fred and Kara and all the sponsors and all the people who went to put things on for Septemberfest. We all had a great time. I know it seemed like it's a good one this year. And same thank you to the Lions for the carnival.
Thank you. Trustee Marshall.
If I'm not mistaken, there's a fire board meeting tomorrow morning, 10 a.m.
You know, I think they're going to, but I'm not sure. I know I can't make it.
Oh, okay. Well, as far as I know, it's fine, so check to see if there's a fire board meeting tomorrow at the fire hall
I
at 10
think
a.m.
my conversation with the fire chief was that was the only day I couldn't make it this week.
Oh, maybe
And
that's why it's tomorrow.
And I think he misunderstood me. So.
And I'd also like to congratulate the recreation department. I don't think I have ever seen that many people in downtown Ortonville having a good time. It was really a lot of fun. It was packed. I know you guys worked your butts off, and it showed. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Trustee Cordell.
I ditto what Bob said about the rec department and the fine, event that you guys put on. Septemberfest was obviously a huge success. And the second item is there are some questions, and I know everyone's kind of concerned about what's the status of the Taco Bell, and the bottom line is we are no more knowledgeable than we were about a month ago when we replied back to their second iteration of their plans for the building. We're still waiting back for some feedback from them, so I'm not sure what the next step is going to be, but I'm sure the building department is going to contact them and say, hey, okay, where are you guys at? Sort of thing. So that's the status of the Taco Bell, as far as I know. I haven't seen anything different from Bill or Brenda, so that's where we're at with Taco Bell.
Brenda?
Yep.
All right, thank you. And then we move to the treasurer report.
Summer tax season is now behind us, thankfully. But you can still pay your summer tax bills with penalty at the treasurer's office through the end of February. We do accept partial payments. We're already gearing up for the winter tax season, although the rates haven't been committed yet. We have all the L4029s entered into the winter season. So if you have any questions or concern about your taxes, please feel free to call our office.
Okay, thank you. And Clerk Allen.
Glad to see everybody here tonight. I know it's a rotten weather day, but it'll get better. First of all, the last day to register to vote is Tuesday, October 9th, and it was in the newspaper and will be again this weekend for the last reminder. We have sent out a few ballots to people who are out of state or very far away in the UP and such on Friday and today. And all the other AV ballots will be mailed out this week, hopefully tomorrow, if not Wednesday for sure. So watch your mail and hope you get it on time. And Thursday, I'm going to be going to a Oakland County MTA meeting with Dana and Kathy. It's down in Pontiac. Later on this month, I am going to attend the CDBG workshop October 16th, and that is to come up with ideas or fill out the application for the 2019 monies. And lastly, our kitchen renovation is moving very, very slowly. Still waiting for a contractor to come through. But he was sent a letter that he has a deadline, and if he doesn't stick to it, then we will no longer be in contract mode with him, and we'll have to go to the next bidder, which will cost more money, but we have to get the project done. All right, that's it for me.
Okay, thank you. All right, as for the clerk's report, I also wanted to extend a big thank you out there for everyone that worked on Septemberfest, Fred, Kara, and all of our wonderful volunteers, along with our great sponsors and the Lions Club for on their part of the happenings on that nice, cool day. So that was great. I enjoyed judging pies, and the music and the car show and everything. It was just all really good. I wanted to let the board know that I received complaints regarding the sidewalk on East Glass Road. It's old, needs some repair. So I did some research, and the clerk helped me out. The sidewalk was purchased by the township back in 1986, and we were reimbursed from community development funds from Oakland County to help pay for that sidewalk. So the road commission says that it's not their responsibility. The county is saying it's our responsibility to maintain it. So I've been calling contractors to see if we can get somebody out there, and it seems this is a bad time of year for cement contractors, and I'm having a really hard time finding anybody that is even willing to come out and give me an estimate. So what I think I'll probably do is take a can of orange spray paint and mark the areas so they're a little more visible for people that are walking on the sidewalks. If I can't find anybody this year, because we'll have to push it into next year. I don't think it's gonna be a terribly expensive fix, but until I get some quotes, I really don't know. Sure.
Does the village do their own sidewalk, or do they
And, yeah, someone suggested.
contract out to them?
Yeah.
Just a difference now that there used to be a school there and now there's not, so I'm sure
Right.
that's the problem.
Well, I'm sure that's why the sidewalk went in the first place. Okay, so just so you have that in the back of your mind. Okay, I have a meeting with the traffic safety next Monday and with MDOT on Tuesday. There's been no speed study on the gravel roads that we requested to have done, and I doubt at this point that they will be doing it for this year. So that will be probably a topic that will come up at both of these meetings, and I believe Scott's gonna be attending both of them.
Yes.
Can I bring up something about that? So after the bad accident that was last week, I had some people approach me and ask about Oakwood and Hadley. I told them the accident had nothing to do with the stop sign there, but some people were saying with the park there now and the traffic of Oakwood, that should we have a traffic study done there to see if that should become a four-way stop or something like that? So do we ever look into that?
We could. I have contacted the road commission about no passing lines, and they won't put those in. So.
Yeah, I asked about
But I
that
didn't-
between
But
Lisa
I
and
didn't
State,
ask
but.
about a four-way stop.
Yeah, I'm not sure, I just know people were asking me about it because of all the added traffic with the school and park there and I told them that the accident had nothing to do with the stop, but it
Yeah,
still came
I
up in
haven't heard that.
conversation. So I just thought maybe if you're gonna be talking to them.
I can ask that.
Thank you.
Okay, let's see, I'm gonna be concentrating on the budget, trying to get the 2019 budget together for a special meeting that I hope to have this month. And I just found out everybody's availability, so it looks like we're going to be having the meeting on October 17th. So if everybody wants to write that down for budget workshop. Oh, I'm sorry. October 16th, which is a Tuesday.
We have a
My
time.
calendar.
6:30.
Is everybody good with 6:30?
Tuesday, yeah, I'm good with 6:30.
Okay, so we'll do 6:30.
That was one of the dates I can do, right?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. So, yeah, 6:30 is good.
Okay. And I just wanted to remind everyone that we have a police millage replacement on the ballot in November. And the reason it's a replacement and not a renewal is because it's exactly the same amount. It's just that it's an 8-year millage request instead of a 5-year millage request. So we're calling it a replacement. So I'm hoping that everybody comes out and supports it. And that concludes the supervisor's report. So next, we have no correspondence. So we'll do citizens' comments on agenda items. During citizens' comments, we ask that you stand at the podium and direct your comments to the board. We will be happy to answer any questions at the end of the meeting. Please state your name, and although it's not required, we also ask that you state the city, township, or village in which you live. Comments shall be courteous and limited to 3 minutes per speaker. So at this time, is there anyone that would like to make a comment on an agenda item? And we have a lot on our agenda. Okay.
I don't know if this is all on the agenda. Can I ask about grandfather?
You state your name.
Tracy Morley, City Hollow. Can I ask about the grandfather or can I not ask that?
You can ask whatever you want, but we probably won't answer any questions till after the meeting.
Should I ask it later?
It's up to you.
You can ask now, that way if we talk about it during discussion.
Yeah, if you bring it up, we might talk about it amongst ourselves.
So not go out on. So with the new ordinance for the group homes, I guess my question is, when it's passed or if it's passed, are people who have purchased property or applied for license, are they grandfathered into that? And the whole thing has just been a bummer. And I understand it falls back on the federal government, it falls back on Michigan, I get that. The 500 foot makes me a little bit nervous, and I don't know if it's right or wrong. Just because of what I've been through, I think 500 feet could almost be every other house. So there's potential for me to get sandwiched between 2 group homes, and that concerns me. I mean, I think it's good for you guys, right, as a township, because it's gonna limit your numbers. But as an individual, it makes me nervous, you know, because I've been asking, of course, I'm asking people who have kids, so it might be different if you don't have kids. But everybody I've asked, I'm like, so if you had 2 group homes on either side, would you buy my house? Definitely not. So I guess it's just a concern, and I don't know what's right or wrong, but just something to think about when you're looking at it. And then I was just curious, this might not be the right time to do it, but on the status on your appeal to Laura, the affidavit.
Okay, is there anyone else that would like to make a comment on any of our agenda items this evening? Okay, everyone's being quiet. They want a fast meeting too. Okay, so we have no discussion this evening, so we will move on to our consent agenda. On our consent agenda, we have regular meeting minutes of September 4th, 2018, special meeting minutes of September 18th, 2018, regular bills in the amount of $63,805.29, prepays in the amount of $72,286.01, township benefits from payroll account of $31,686.22, and trustee timesheets in the amount of $891. Are there any questions or discussion on the consent agenda this evening? I do have a question on the minutes for 9/18/18. It says draft on them, so is that word draft going to come off? I think it's approved tonight.
These all say draft. All the minutes
Oh,
on the
okay.
consent
Oh,
agenda are
okay, so
draft.
instead of a watermark, it just says draft.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
If they're approved tonight, yep.
Okay, all right. Anybody else have any questions or concerns? Okay, so we will do a roll call on approving the consent agenda as presented. Oh wait, I have to take a moment. Someone's gonna make a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as approved.
As presented.
As presented, sorry.
Wow.
There's something in the air.
Support.
Okay, I have a motion by Clerk Allen, and it is seconded by Trustee Marshall to approve the consent agenda as presented. Now we can do a roll call.
Allen?
Yes.
Broughton?
Yes.
Darnell?
Yes.
Palma?
Yes.
Cordella?
Yes.
Marshall?
Yes.
Thurman?
Yes, motion carries unanimously. The consent agenda has been approved, so we can move to unfinished business. And the first item of unfinished business is the vacation time carryover. So I did some research, I went through timesheets, I went through the information that Terry looked at from paychecks. I talked to the HR person in the clerk's office, and so I came up with that he had, let's see,
You end up with 19, correct?
yeah, that's the
Okay.
bottom line, 19
Yeah,
extra
that's-
hours that we need to approve.
So I'd like to make, we discussed this in the subcommittee, the Parks and Rec subcommittee, and I'd like to make a motion to carry those 19 hours over.
So it's really 59 hours.
Yes, total of 59, but we also just, for discussion purposes, well, first I'll wait until everybody seconds.
Okay, so you are making a motion to allow Fred Waybrandt to carry over 19 hours of vacation time that were to be
In addition to
used
the
by
40.
August 20th,
Yes, in addition to the 40.
2018, what?
You said August 20th.
I'm just reading notes. To carry over the vacation time that, I don't know, this is worded. We can word it however we want.
It's really the last sentence, that, you know, the 19 hours of vacation time in addition to the 40 that we would normally allow for a total of 50.
I'm reading the other side.
Oh,
This is
okay.
just promotional over there, and I'm just switching out the number of hours.
Right.
And I don't know if that's how you want to state your motion.
Yeah,
or
actually,
if you
just
want
switch
to-
the number, take the 63 out and put the 59 in.
That's what she's trying to say.
That were to be used by August 20th, but he has to have time to use it.
Yeah, I'm so confused.
Normally, you can carry 40 over.
Right, but this says,
And you did-
here it says that
Don't
40 of
get-
those hours have been approved to be carried over to employment year of 18 to 19.
Yeah.
Of this 94.5, he really had 94.5 carryover? I'm so confused.
There were numbers that, yeah, correct, you just ignore that part. Just pay attention to the last.
No,
Look at this side.
54.5.
Well, I'm looking here where it says this was 145.5 with 94.5 hours remaining after subtracting those hours from 240. I'm reading up in the top paragraph, so that's where I'm confused.
Like I said, if you just read the last sentence, it's
Yeah, oh
very
yeah,
clear.
so then he had, okay. So the total amount was 145.5, with 94.5 hours remaining after subtracting that from 240, because he was given 240.
Right, because he carried over 40 from prior year.
Yeah, from the
Gotcha.
prior year. So, of that 94.5, 40 has been given to him to carry over into this coming year. So that leaves you with 54.5 hours of vacation that he had figured would be, that we would have to approve. But I went through the timesheets, and because in our benefits manual, the exempt employees are expected to work 48 hours a week before they get flex time. And there were instances when that was not the case. So I figured there's an additional 35.5 hours that was written on the timesheets as time, that was like over 40 hours and not 48 hours. So that time should have been declared as vacation time.
Gotcha.
So I subtracted the 35.5 from the 54.5, came up with 19.
So 19 is 40.
Yeah.
Okay. So here's my question though, if we do it for him, we have to do it for.
No, that's why I wanted, that's why I cut myself off, because we discussed this, and it was just in the first rep, I want to share it with the whole group.
Okay,
We
so
did
let's
this
get
for-
a second.
Do we have a second?
I
on
thought
this,
you
guys?
already did, I'm sorry.
I did not, but I would be happy to. I'll support the motion.
The statement was made, and I agree with you. There was a precedence that we did this for the Treasurer's Department earlier this year. And so I don't want to say we know we aren't, but moving forward, unless an employee cannot get their hours in because they were specifically requested by their supervisor to not take those hours, we're not going to continue doing this moving forward.
It also did, Dana, happen in the clerk's office several years ago because an employee broke a body part and was off for over a month, and overtime was given, and the person who had to cover her job never got time to take it off. So it happens every once in a great while.
And that's why I made that a special circumstance.
Yeah.
But other than that,
I don't want to see
we're
it
not
become
going
a
to set
habit.
this
No.
precedent of every department coming back in here and saying, because you know how many hours you have to make an effort to take them, or, like in most workplaces, you lose them. And that's the way it is everywhere else.
Well, and this isn't as bad as how many hours it was that he
Right.
first came to us, so I just think that someone needs to watch this more because.
That's coming up.
Okay.
Can I just make a statement about the motion though? Our policy states anyone can carry over 40 hours without coming to the board or anything, so I believe this motion should only state the 19 hours.
I agree.
Yes.
That's what it is.
That's fine.
Okay. Well, I heard someone say make it 50.
I did say that just because it was 63.
Yeah.
But we're saying, in addition to the 40 that you're already allowed, you're carrying an extra 19 over on this one-time only deal. And moving forward, this is not going to set a precedent for future unless a supervisor has requested it.
So your motion should have said 19.
That's fine. If you want to say carry an additional 19 hours forward, I'll reread it here. Let's make that change. Suggested motion to allow Fred Grant to carry over 19 hours in addition to the 40 hours that's already allowed of vacation time that were used to be used by August 20th.
2019.
Yes,
August
instead of
18.
18.
Yes, August 20th, 2019.
And I'll support that motion.
But the carry forward is from the previous year.
Right, but it has to be used by.
Well, that are to be used by 19.
That's what he said.
That's what he said.
Are to be
But
used.
it's,
Oh, okay. I was still writing the, in addition to the 40 hours.
employee in my department that carries 40 over every year.
Okay, to allow Fred Waybrand to carry over 19 hours in addition to the, 19 hours of vacation in addition to the 40 hours that
Normally allotted.
normally
Yeah.
allowed.
Just for curiosity's sake, are employees allowed to carry over comp time? There is no compensatory time?
They have 3 personal days though.
We do have compensatory time, but they don't carry over.
Can't carry over.
No, they're supposed to use that, like, the next pay.
Oh, okay, all right.
Generally. So I guess if it was at the right point in time, it would
Right.
theoretically be carried over.
It states that they use it within the next pay period.
Okay. Lena, are you clear on that motion?
No.
Okay.
Um,
To allow Fred Waybrand to carry over 19 hours of vacation. And if you look at your packet on the back side, we're
Yeah.
kind of going off of that, only we're altering it a little. So it's kind of the first line, only the 63 changes to 19.
Okay.
And that's in addition to the 40 hours normally allotted. And it's that are to be used by August 20th, 2019. Correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, discussion on the motion. I know somebody had a question.
Covered it all.
This one says 18.
17, 18, that's how we were figuring, that's what we're, that's how we were, his anniversary date is, I was told that 8/18.
Then that's when it should be used by 17, right?
That's what it says.
Oh, it says August 20th, yeah, you're right. It should say August 18th.
That was my question. I don't know if 2 days would make a big difference, but whatever.
Yeah, well, that should be right. So we're gonna, is that, do you want to amend it that way? And you support the amendment?
Yes.
Okay, so instead of, at the end, it says instead of August 20th, 2019, it's gonna be August 18th, 2019. Anything else? Okay, if there's no further discussion, let's do a roll call, please.
Broughton,
Yes.
Darnall,
Yes.
DePalma,
Yes.
Cordella,
Yes.
Marshall,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
Thurman.
Yes. Motion carries unanimously. We can move on to our next item, which is the budget amendment transfer of funds. So this came to the Parks and Rec Subcommittee meeting. And on the back side, let's see. So the $5,000 from the sale of the skate park equipment has already been deposited into the miscellaneous revenue. So all we're asking to do is make a budget amendment that would account for that, and then to increase the expenditure line of build-a-park improvements from $958 to $5,958. And that way, Fred would be able to purchase more cement to hopefully finish the pathways. And if they don't get finished this year, it will be in the carry forward of the 508 budget to finish for next year.
I would like to make that motion as presented.
So,
To amend the budget.
so this time it's on this.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying.
This is just a motion.
As
That
presented,
one?
yeah.
Okay.
The discussion, well, okay, Bob seconded it, I think. discussion here is that there's two things. One, there's a Brooksy Way grant out there that's kind of hanging in the balance that would be much more successful if the sidewalk was finished. That's point one. Point two, it's just time to get that sidewalk finished, so to have that whole loop around the tree library. And thirdly, we discussed in the Parks and Rec subcommittee that this $5,000 is only to be used for completion of that sidewalk. And if it's completed for less than that, it's not an open budget item that can be used for other things. We're just wanting to get that sidewalk completed.
All right, any other discussion?
I just have a question. Is there a timeline as to when they have to have that equipment out? Of
They
the
have to
skate
have it
park?
out?
When they have to have the equipment taken out of the skate park?
It was supposed to be out already, but we had September 1st.
Well, that's what I was wondering, because it's still there. I was-
Yeah.
That was September 17th, and then September Fest being the 22nd, and the carnival on site, Barry requested that be delayed. So he hasn't gave me a new date or anything like that.
But he still plans to move it this year?
Yes, as far as I know.
What's the
I'll
plan
double
for the,
check.
what's the plan for the fence once that gear's taken out of there?
Down here at the village, that's up to the village.
Okay.
We don't own the property.
Okay.
Did we already get paid for the skate park equipment?
Yes.
Yeah, it's already set $5,000.
Right.
There was some talk, people wanting batting cages down there, but I don't know
It's up to the village.
But the fence wasn't included with the gear that you're sending in?
The fence is not included with the skate park.
And what, and so does the village know they have to deal with Barry to move it? I mean, the village can't come back at us. If they do
Right.
anything, Barry can't come back at us. It's a
Yes,
done deal
Barry's-
between us and Barry.
Right, absolutely. I made that clear with the village council, or with the village manager. That's his baby now, not ours. We are free.
Okay, and you had some concerns last time, that's why this kept getting tabled. Are your concerns? I know you have
Yes.
concerns because of the equipment that got stolen replacement, or because of the lawnmower?
We've
or
ironed it all out, so yes,
We're okay?
I'm okay.
And all the money's good for everything else then?
Yes, but this 5,000, we're only moving that over to get the sidewalk finished. It's not an open,
Well,
okay.
I agree the sidewalk needs to get finished, so I just want to make sure that everything else was worked out.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
I guess my only question is do we need to spell it out in the motion?
No.
No? Okay.
Okay, I have a motion by trustee Broughton, and it is seconded by trustee Cordella to amend 508-000-690-000 miscellaneous revenue from 0 to 5,000, which is an increase of 5,000 in revenues, and amend 508-604-976-299, build a park improvements from $958 to $5,958, which is an increase of $5,000 in expenditures. So two budget amendments, two budget amendments. Is there any other discussion on this, or are we ready to vote? Looks like we're ready to vote, so we'll do a roll call, please.
Darnell?
Yes.
DePalma?
Yes.
Cordella?
Yes.
Marshall?
Yes.
Allen? Yes. Broughton?
Yes.
Thurman?
Yes, motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
All right, next item of unfinished business is the amendment to the Brandon Township Ordinance, Chapter 46204B3, regulating rural estate district, single-family residential permitted uses for adult foster care facilities, first reading. We've talked about this at length. Everybody has had a chance to read this. My only question, and something that has changed on here that from our last meeting is instead of taking out how far the foster care facilities for small group homes Because I thought this was under 6.
Is that what you're talking?
No, it's for fewer than 7 residents.
Right.
Yeah. So we took out any length of separation, but we added in 500 feet. So now we're stating that they need to be separated by 500 feet. And the reason the attorney came up with that amount of footage in between, and it was measured linear between the closest property lines. The reason he came up with that is because there is case law to support that. We had no case law to support the 1,500-foot separation. So we were gonna take it out completely, but now he was able to find some case law to support this, so that's why we have 500 feet.
I have a question. Is there any way we can move up, like, okay, introductions today, if
Yes.
it goes through, can we move up any of these dates, adoption, publication, effective? I'd really like to move them up as soon as possible.
If we do it at our workshop.
So then,
If we do it at our workshop, we're gonna have to change those dates.
adoption would be what, 10/15? How
So-
does dates go?
10/16.
Or 10/16, yeah,
So
sorry,
we
15's my.
we decided
my
on
meeting.
we decided on the 16th, correct?
Yes, so 10.
So adoption would be the 16th,
Okay,
publication would be the 20th, and effective, well, it has, okay, yeah, effective would be the 22nd, because if we were to approve it.
is that enough? I just didn't know if there has to be so much time in between introduction and adoption,
I sent this to the building department, that's the dates they gave me.
and he was okay with that?
So what's the publication date?
So we
Yeah.
would amend this to
Newspaper.
be, yeah.
Were you using your-
October, no, it's October 20th.
Oh,
October
Yeah.
This is much
16th.
better.
Yeah.
October
It's like right
16th.
away.
This is, we would bring this to our workshop.
In 2 weeks?
Yes,
And a
which
day.
which we just decided October 16th. So if it's October 16th, the publication would be October 20th, and the effective date would be October 22nd.
We don't need a second reading then, or is adoption considered a second reading, basically?
That is, yeah.
Okay. I just know we're reading some second readings tonight, so I wasn't sure what.
Yeah, adoption, second, well, yeah.
Just I got a small question here. If it's published on the 20th, what's the 2-day delay to make it effective on the 22nd?
I don't know.
Because the
I-
20th
it's
is
a
a Saturday
Saturday.
and then effective on
Oh,
a
that's
Monday.
right.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking, but I don't have the calendar in front of me, so. Okay, very good.
Because it would be in our wonderful citizen newspaper that comes out Saturdays.
Okay. So I didn't know that was published. I thought it was just gonna be something that we published in the branded website.
Do we have any answers on the grandfathered? I know I had mentioned that when we started talking about this. Or we can't talk about it.
I don't know. I don't have a firm answer on that.
Okay. As of today, I know nothing's been filed or been up on our website. I can check their website.
Yeah, I suppose I'm assuming I know the reason for that question, but I will say to this group, we can't pick and choose who we grandfather in and out. We just can't. And so I think that might answer your question right there.
No, I know we can't pick and choose, but it has to be, I mean, I don't think any are within 500 feet of another.
I don't know, that would be
I don't
interesting to
think
find
there are.
out. because-
I've looked at all of our group homes, just going through the list to
Yeah.
see, and I don't think there are any within 500 feet of another. I don't know if it's,
But
yeah.
according to that case that we're basing this on, they had.
It was
was
one
brought up,
already in
it was an
place,
existing
yeah.
one in place, and they did.
They closed it.
They ruled to evict them, so,
yes.
just to make it clear.
And I do know that they are in the process of we don't issue the permits for group homes, so.
Right.
Or for the adult foster care, so.
Right, but yeah, we'd have to go and see if there's any, but from what I know of, it would be good though if someone else, maybe in the office who's more familiar with all the addresses, looks at the list of all the group homes to see if there's any within 500 feet. No, if there's any within 500 feet of each other already that we have.
Especially in the village, you know, there's quite a few.
Well, we don't count for the village though.
Well, I looked over the list several times and it doesn't look like that.
That's what I was gonna say, it doesn't look like
It
that.
applies to all of the township, which is also the village.
I thought the village had its own ordinances.
No,
Well, and I have,
for that.
I have those homes too, because those are in the township. They're not supposed to be in the township. So I didn't see any that are
Okay, that's good.
close together.
And I do understand your concern, Tracy, I do understand concern of 500 feet.
That original case, they had it, oddly, I don't know where they come up with these random numbers, but it was 900 to begin with.
Yes.
And they decided, well, that's too
500.
far, we're gonna have to drop it to just 500. So, you know, our 1,500 was way out there, so. Somehow that
But
seemed,
American
the judge
was
seemed to be convinced that since it was such a narrow range, that suddenly it was okay. But at 900, it might not have been.
Correct.
Just in case you haven't read that case, that's where this 500 is coming from.
And if it's from property line to property line, you're gonna have 2 lots in between.
Yeah, at least.
For a 2.5 acre parcel, generally speaking.
Right.
Unless they're a square. A lot of them are like 200 feet deep by 600, but some of them are more square, so they'd be wider. Okay, does someone want to make a motion, or the motion that's presented with the changes to the introduction, adoption, and publication effective dates?
So,
I'll support. Okay, so I have a motion by trustee Marshall, and it is seconded by clerk Allen, to introduce for first reading an amendment to the Code of Ordinances, Chapter 46, Article 3, Section 46-204B3, to read, adult foster care small group homes for fewer than 7 residents, foster family group homes for fewer than 7 residents, and family child care homes licensed by the state as required by Section 206 of Public Act Number 110 of 2006, MCL 125.3206, excluding adult foster care small group home licensed for at least 7 but not more than 12 adults as defined in 218 Public Act 1979, Section 3.7, providing that no 2 such adult foster care facilities shall be located within 500 feet of each other as measured linearly between the closest property lines, and further provided such adult foster care facilities shall meet all current state and Michigan building codes and fire prevention codes. Into the Code of Ordinances, Charter Township of Brandon, Oakland County, Michigan. I just wanted to let everyone know, if this gets approved, we might be coming back to the board with further regulations, because our child care facilities, if it goes into special use, oh, maybe it's not this one, I guess I need to say this later. Okay, so it doesn't apply to this one.
And did we, I know Bob had brought up about
the language from
the language, but as a showed it.
And maybe you could share that. I mean, just share, well, go ahead.
Well,
I was just gonna say that there's another part of our ordinance that
already
addresses.
addresses that, right, and I sent an email to Bob showing the language from our ordinance and the language from the state, the two languages from the state, because one's in the enabling act of, one's in the residential zoning enabling act, and the other one is in the MCL 700 or 400, whatever the numbers are, I get them all mixed up. But it's, we already state that we follow the Mishtamas. I don't know if we need to put more wording in or not, but obviously.
I think that would cover it, and that, and just so everyone understands what we're talking about, that's the language that addresses,
Criminals.
the, people from the correctional facility not being allowed into the adult foster care facility.
Right, we've already had that in our ordinance to agree to the state ordinances, so that shouldn't have happened, but that's where the different interpretations are coming, where we're interpreting it one way and Lara and Department of Corrections are interpreting it another way.
Okay, good job. Fine.
Still waiting on answers on that. That's the appeal that last I heard, Stuart said that they realize our appeal is correct.
It's valid.
It's valid, and we're just waiting on when the appeal, what the next steps are.
Right.
Our appeal is valid. Date-wise valid, we've got our appeal in on time.
All right, any other questions or discussion on this particular motion? Okay. Then we will go ahead and do a roll call.
DePalma,
Yes.
Cordella,
Yes.
Marshall,
Yes.
Allen. Yes. Broughton,
Yes.
Darnell,
Yes.
Thurman.
Yes, motion carries unanimously. Those are with the corrected dates. Next on our agenda is introduction of an ordinance amendment to modify section 46204C2, rural estate district special uses. So this is
7 to 12.
7 to 12. So basically, just to, for a recap of what this is small group homes of 6 to 12 shall be located within 1,500 feet of each other as measured linearly.
Shall not.
Oh, shall be. Shall be.
This is the big one.
This is the big one, so you can do 15.
Yeah, but you've
6
got to
to
read
12.
that no to shall.
Yeah, right.
Above it. the next
Provided
line
that
up.
no two such adult foster care facilities shall be located.
Oh, okay. Providing that no two adult foster care facilities as defined in 218 PA 1979 shall be located within 1,500 feet of each other as measured linearly between the closest property lines or within 1,500 feet of any state licensed child daycare home, public school facility, or any excluded facility described in 218 PA 1979. And then it goes on in the Code of Ordinances.
And in discussions I had with one of the players from Lara a while ago, this is a little bit easier to, we have a little bit more control over this when we're talking about homes with 7 or more. They can't rely back on the Larkin case like they did for the 600. So it really shouldn't be a problem. These next few that we're actually going to read.
No, because another one goes back to the 6, because it's R1A, R1B, so the next one after this goes back to 6. We're going back and forth, we're doing RE, and then we're doing R1A and R1B.
So this would be, this ordinance shall be known as and may be cited as the rural estates permitted uses and special uses amending ordinances. So since it's a special use ordinance, it would go to our planning commission for special use. And then, this is what I was gonna say before, is since it's a special use ordinance, we may be coming back to the board to get approved additional regulations for the special use. There's been some conversation regarding that. Because we do have those provisions for our child care facilities. Okay. All right, would anyone like to make the motion that is presented and along with the change of dates?
And those dates would match
The ones we just, yeah.
Okay.
So it would be adoption October 16th. Publication October 20th, and then effective October 22nd, correct?
I will make that motion.
support.
Okay. Do you want me to read it through? I read half of it. Okay, we're gonna forego that, and your motion is to approve it as presented.
As amended, with the
And
date.
amended, and the dates amended, yes. Okay, is there any further discussion on this one? Questions? Okay, so we'll go ahead and roll call.
Cordella?
Yes.
Marshall?
Yes.
Allen?
Yes.
Broughton?
Yes.
Brunel?
Yes.
DePalma?
Yes.
Thurman?
Yes, motion carries unanimously. That brings us to item E. Okay, so item E is amendment to Brandon Township Ordinance Chapter 46-205B2, regulating R1A and R1B, single-family residential permitted uses for adult foster care facilities, first reading. So R1A and R1B are areas where we allow lots smaller than 2.5 acres for a minimum building site. So. And this one is for adult foster care group homes for fewer than 7 residents. And family group homes for fewer than 7 residents. Family child care homes licensed by the state as required by section 206 of Public Act number 110 of 206. Excluding adult foster care small group home licensed for at least 7, but not more than 12 adults, as defined in 218 PA 1979, section 3.7, providing that no 2 such adult foster care facilities shall be located within 500 feet of each other as measured linearly between the closest property lines, and further provides such adult foster care facilities shall meet all current state of Michigan building codes and fire prevention codes. All right, would someone like to make this motion? And it would be the same dates that we've been changing them to.
So,
Sorry.
Is that Chris or
Bob made the
Bob
motion.
made the motion? Okay. Okay, any discussion on this one? Okay, I have a motion by trustee Marshall and a seconded by trustee Cordella, as I just read, to introduce for first reading. We'll do roll call, please.
Marshall,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
Broughton,
Yes.
Darnell,
Yes.
De Palma,
Yes.
Cordella,
Yes.
Thurman.
Yes, motion carries unanimously as presented with the changed, amended dates. Okay, we'll move on to items F. The amendment to Brandon Township Ordinance Chapter 46, 205C2, regulating R1A and R1B single-family special uses for adult foster care facilities. So this is similar to that for our rural estates. And on this one, we will also amend the dates for published and effective and adopted. Adopted on the 16th. Published on the 20th of October and effective October 22nd. And this is the one with the 1,500, shall not be located within 1,500 feet of each other.
I'll make the motion as presented with the amended dates.
Support.
Okay, I have a motion by Clerk Allen, and is seconded by trustee Marshall to approve the motion being presented with the amended dates. Is there any discussion on this one? Okay, roll call, please.
Allen,
Yes.
Broughton,
Yes.
Darnell,
Yes.
De Palma,
Yes.
Cordella,
Yes.
Marshall,
Yes.
Thurman.
Yes, motion carries unanimously. That concludes our unfinished business. So now we can move on to our new business. First item of new business is the amendment to Chapter 46, Section 30411 Pathways, second reading. So we approved this for first reading at our last meeting. So this would be second reading. Does anyone want to make the motion and read it? It's a smaller one.
I'll make the motion to adopt second reading and amendment to the Code of Ordinances, Chapter 46, Article 5, Section 30411, to change the pathways to be a minimum of 8 feet in width and constructed of approved hard surface materials, full ordinance attached, into the Code of Ordinances, Charter Township of Brandon, Oakland County, Michigan.
Who would like to second that motion? So at present time, just to remind everyone, it's, the pathways are a minimum of 5 feet, so we're just changing the 5 feet to 8 feet in width, so that they match up with the safety path that we already have out there.
Yeah, right.
But, for instance, over at Bell Ann, you're talking about Glass Road, would it apply to the existing that you're just fixing?
No,
Okay.
No, it's grandfather, that's.
no, that's,
It's all new.
yeah, this is. Okay, any other questions or concerns? Okay, seeing none, roll call please.
Broughton,
Yes.
Darnell,
Yes.
De Palma,
Yes.
Cordella,
Yes.
Marshall,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
Thurman.
Yes. motion approves unanimously. And Lena, that was by Clerk Allen, and it was seconded by Trustee Cordella.
Thank you.
All right, next item of new business is the amendment to Chapter 10, adding Section 1085, dangerous building provisions, second reading.
Yeah, I thought during our first reading discussion, we just, yeah, we're gonna add that we're gonna send these notices by certified mail to make sure, so we can ensure that the homeowner did actually receive a notice instead of just assuming that they received a notice.
I think what we decided instead was to increase the length of time.
Okay, I don't remember it that way. It's, the length of time doesn't matter. If somebody doesn't receive the notice, it could be 2 days or 2 months, doesn't
Well,
matter.
we talked about getting verification that they received their notice, because, you know, I mean, I have a bill I paid in the mail, and I got, hey, it's not paid, and I'm like, I mailed it, you know, so there's stuff that gets lost. So I definitely want something to prove a receipt, but then also, I think we had only, what, 2 weeks, and we said, I thought 2 weeks was
Right, and I.
fair
did
enough,
did
because
this
some
come
people
back-
do take 2 weeks
Did
vacation.
this come back with a longer time on it?
I don't see it anywhere, Kathy.
I don't see it.
I didn't
the
see anything
mail.
that changed, actually.
I sent a letter to our contractor for the kitchen certified, and I still have not received that postcard back.
Well,
It was
you
sent
can-
more than 2 weeks ago.
You can go online and look it up, though, you don't have to wait for the postcards, you can get the tracking number and go online. And that's what I usually do, I don't wait for the postcard.
Yeah, because actually that's something new, Candy, because I did the same thing. I had an issue with something I was dealing with my parents. And the post person told me at the post office, don't expect always to get that card back. You need to, it's your responsibility to go check online. I guess they're trying to get away of having to mail it back to you.
Because that can get lost too.
Right.
Yeah, true.
And I've had one time now where the online system hasn't worked, but there was an issue with the tax filing time.
But anyways, Kathy, this is under section C of, well, it starts with section 9, subsection C, where we still just got it sent via first class mail
Yeah.
or delivered personally. Delivered personally is fine, but I wanted to see the second bullet point there, to be certified mail.
Oh, and it does say any person failing to comply with the notice of violation within 7 days after mailing, so that didn't get changed.
No, I don't think anything got
So-
changed.
All right, so why don't we bring this back to our special meeting and have them put the changes in?
Do you remember what the length of time was going to be? 7 to?
It was 14
Was it
days.
14?
I thought it was 14.
I'm not sure, I just know 7's not fair. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just,
I'd like to make a motion to postpone this adoption until our next meeting so it can be revised.
because, well, but now if you are doing it certified, if it goes to the post office and it's waiting for signature, then you really truly haven't received it, it just sits there waiting for your signature. But I'd still give 2 weeks, give someone time to actually answer.
I hear you talk about vacations, I mean, people go on a week vacation all the time, so.
Yeah, just give them time to respond
How about,
when they get
let's
it.
be more specific and postpone to,
Special meeting for revisions.
yeah,
Okay,
October
that's fine.
16th.
Actually, you could say October 16th, that's fine.
Yeah, 'cause it even still says here, after mailing by first class, so it needs to all be changed after receipt of certified.
Okay, so the motion is to postpone to the October 16th meeting for revisions, is that what you said? And that was made by Brock. Did someone second that one? Would someone like to second that one?
So,
All right, I have a motion by trustee Bratton and a second by trustee Marshall to postpone this item to the October 16th meeting for revisions. Any questions or discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries unanimously. All right. That brings us to item C, election resolution, presented by the clerk.
This is a resolution that is suggested that we have in Brandon Township to make sure that there's a receiving board appointed for every election. It's a standard across all of Oakland County. So I would like to make the motion to adopt the resolution for establishing a receiving board held in Brandon Township.
Who is
Want me
it?
to read it?
Oh.
Sure. Not everybody else, it's not that long.
Whereas the township clerk is responsible for conducting elections in Brandon Township, and whereas MCL 168.679A provides the election commission of a city, township, or village shall, by resolution, provide that an election which the ballots are counted and certified at a precinct, one or more additional boards of election inspectors be appointed to serve as receiving boards. And whereas the Brandon Township Receiving Board is responsible for the duties as outlined in section 168.679A of the Michigan Election Law, Article 116 of 1954, and whereas the Board of Election Commissioners shall appoint 2 or more election inspectors with an equal number of each major political party to the receiving board prior to each election. Now therefore, be it resolved, the Election Commission authorizes the establishment of a receiving board and the appointment of 2 or more election inspectors with an equal number from each major political party for all future elections beginning November 6, 2018.
Okay. So
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Okay, any questions or concerns about this resolution?
I have a couple questions. Do you already have a receiving board?
Yes, and there's been a receiving board in place in Brandon Township for several years.
So who's on that receiving board?
It varies every year, but the deputy clerk and who's also our election coordinator is on there, plus appointed election inspectors.
Okay, so there's the election commission, the board of election commissioners. So who's the board of election commissioners?
The clerk and 2 trustees, who this year is,
Okay, so that's your election committee is considered your, what do I just call it, who's on your election?
our election commission.
Is what we call the election committee, or?
Yes.
Right, okay, so I know that, and then they establish who's on the receiving board, and they appoint 2 election inspectors, okay.
And
I've never
tonight-
been on that committee, so I didn't know it was actually called the election commission, and that they did all that.
And tonight, we had an election commission meeting at 6:30.
That's crazy, Dana, just crazy.
I'm sure it was.
And at which all the inspectors for every position, whether it's the maintenance, the actual election inspectors at the precincts, the counting board, the receiving board, and substitutes, if they're needed, were all appointed tonight.
Okay. I didn't know that took place, that's why I was trying to figure out, well, who does all this? So that's all, I was just trying to become educated.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions or discussion? Okay, we have motion by Clerk Allen, seconded by Trustee Cordella, to approve the resolution establishing a receiving board held in Brandon Township as presented. And we'll have to do a roll call, please.
DePalma,
Yes.
Cordella,
Yes.
Marshall,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
Groton,
Yes.
Darnell,
Yes.
Thurman.
Yes, motion carries unanimously. Next is the cemetery tree maintenance bid award.
Yeah, that's a fun one. As you know, in August, we decided that we needed to hire Bob Huxwell, who is also village DPW. Had his own company for doing landscape and trees, and he went out to the cemeteries and documented which trees actually need to be taken down because they're dead, or branches, to get all the dead branches removed for safety. Nothing about how everything's gonna look, because it's expensive. So on September 19th, 5 people, owners actually went through, walked through the cemeteries with Bob so he could give them every detail. They got all their questions answered. I was not able to go due to an emergency. And we held a bid opening on September 26th.
Have you picked one?
I have not.
Is there one that you would prefer?
There is what I prefer, and part of the reason is 3 of these people are local. And I am not having very good luck when I don't go with local.
Okay.
It ends up back in our lap if we go with someone who's not from our area.
My point I was trying to make is that cheapest isn't always best.
I
So if
know.
you have one that you prefer, I'm gonna go with what you said.
Well, any of the 3 from Ortonville would be absolutely fine, any of them.
Okay.
And I just,
My question would be, what do we have budgeted for this?
I have the money budgeted.
How much? Enough?
Yes, I have the money. I didn't actually look to see.
You have enough for the highest amount?
Right now,
We don't do the highest.
I know.
No, we've
but
never
I'm
done the
just
highest.
trying to find out.
Okay.
I am gonna have to move some money around. I only have 6,000 budgeted for the tree maintenance.
So it
So-
sounds like we're down to 2. Who do you pick?
Either of them, either, I really didn't wanna make that decision.
Well, typically we guys go, I say you go with the lowest of the ones who are local.
If there's no other deciding factor, then I agree.
Have you had any experience with either of the two lows?
No,
No.
I have not. We cut our own trees. We let Mother Nature take them out,
Yeah.
one or the other. But I do have money in my budget to move around, whether it's the gravel, move the money, because we're not gonna put in gravel over to the trees.
Okay.
On a side note, if I can quickly, the well has been re-drilled. There's a 5-inch well out there now with a brand new hand pump. That project is done.
Well, it sounds like we're going with the 4th company then, yes?
I would make a motion to go with Tucker Trees instead of the lowest bid of the local contractors.
Okay.
Second.
Mr. Hawkswell looked at the bids and he said they were all very much in line and he would hire any one of them. He knows the 3 locals, he does not know the
Okay. Sounds like
out-of-town
we're-
person.
Just out of curiosity, how many trees are we talking?
Oh,
Just estimate.
35.
Okay. Wow, that's a good price.
Yeah.
This is a much better look than it was when we took the bids back in May, that went
Yeah,
from
remember.
9,800
Yeah.
to 65,000.
Okay. I have a motion to award Tucker Tree and Landscaping the Brandon Township Cemetery Tree Maintenance Contract to begin on October 6th through April 13th, 2019, not to exceed $10,700, and with contract language approval from the township attorney. And that motion is by trustee Marshall and is seconded by trustee Brock. Correct?
Yes.
Okay, any discussion on the motion? roll call, please.
Cordella,
Yes.
Marshall,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
Broughton,
Yes.
Darnall,
Yes.
De Palma,
Yes.
Thurman.
Yes, motion carries unanimously. Okay, so next on our agenda are policy revisions. There's 2 revisions. One is for payroll 5.1. And there's 2 amendments to this policy, and that would be to have the timesheets submitted to the Human Resource Coordinator by 10 a.m. instead of noon every Monday of pay week. And the second part of it is to add, right now it says timesheets will be signed by both the employee and department head. And the other amendment is to add department head timesheets will be signed by both the department head and the official who oversees the department. And then the other amendment is in regard to 2.2 conduct of meetings, and that's in the operations manual. And that is to add in number 1, meetings to the public, to add to further abide by the Open Meetings Act, board members will refrain from using email, texting, or other forms of electronic communications during the course of an open meeting.
I do have issues with that last one. And it's not an issue that, you know, I want to sit here and email everybody or text everybody to have something secret going on. But I frequently use my phone when we have something presented to us to actually look up facts. So I'm not sure how you're going to differentiate between me sending a text message or me looking up facts about something we're discussing.
Honor code, Bob.
Well, well, that's the thing. I mean,
Well-
but, I mean, how are you going to control it?
I
You know, I
looked
have
up.
to surrender my phone every time I want to look something up.
And I looked up the Open Meetings Act, so I have the Michigan Open Meetings Act here, and my only issue with that is that sometimes at a meeting, my kids are home alone. And if they need to text me, I need to be able to check that text, because we're not in an office where we have a phone. I mean, during the day, I know you guys have no phone, you know, no cell phone usage or whatever, but you can always get a hold of somebody by the office phone. Our office phone rings out of here. I need to be able to get that text. So I looked up the Open Meetings Act, and I don't mind having it read, if you want to make it for the Open Meetings Act, it says, use of email or other electronic communications among board members during an open meeting. Email, texting, or other forms of electronic communications among members of a board or commission during the course of an open meeting that constitutes deliberations towards decision-making or actual decisions violates the Open Meetings Act. So I'm just stating that if you're gonna say it's for the open meetings, we should state it as it's read here. And you have to trust, I don't sit here and text with people, I don't sit here and email with people. I just make sure that it's not an emergency that I have to deal with when my husband could be out of town, and who else are my kids supposed to call? That's my whole thing. I don't think it should just say we can't email. I mean, we're all grown adults here. I think it should read that we shouldn't be doing anything that stops it from being an open meeting, not just saying I
Yeah,
can
I
never
just
use my
assumed
phone.
that was the case. If we need to reword it to say we're refraining from using email or texting amongst each other during the meetings.
Yeah, and I have no problem with
I
that.
mean, we're all
I just
grown
assume
ups.
that's what it
Or
I
the
just-
audience.
Or,
Or the
yeah.
audience.
Or the audience.
Right,
Which has happened before.
yes.
Really?
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
yes, it has.
Oh, I've got nasty messages.
Um,
I had gotten a text when people were out there and they couldn't get in to say that we shouldn't have that meeting that one night, which
Oh, yeah.
I did get a text from somebody, and I did share that then, and I did read it. I didn't respond to them. I spoke here, and we sent somebody out.
No, I understand the spirit of it, it's just how you can control the operation. of it is
I
what
just think
don't
if you
like.
want to make it like the open meeting, we should make it
Yeah,
like
and I
it
would
states
have no
here.
problem with that, yeah.
You can't say totally refrain from everything. I mean, we're all adults. I don't do anything I'm not supposed to.
How about if we add at the end, for the purpose of deliberating on an issue?
That's fine.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, is everybody good with the first amendment?
Yeah.
For payroll? Okay. So the one, meetings to be public, conduct of meetings would read, to further abide by the Open Meetings Act, board members will refrain from using email, texting, or other forms of electronic communications during the course of an open meeting for the purpose of deliberating on an issue.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. Who would like to make the motion to approve the policy amendments as presented?
I'll make that.
Who would like to second?
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion by trustee Cordella, and it is seconded by treasurer Darnell to approve the policy amendments as presented and amended. Correct?
Just amended. The motion was amended,
Oh, yes.
so it's amended.
But it was also presented.
But it was also
Approve the policy amendments. As presented.
That's not on my form.
So, Chris, you're making the motion, do you want presented and amended, or just amended? Just amended.
It doesn't matter to me.
Everything is presented to us.
Yeah, okay, just get rid of the word presented. Just have amended.
As presented?
No.
As amended?
As amended.
Okay.
Yeah, get rid of the word presented.
Policy amendments as amended.
Right.
It was full moon every night last week.
Beautiful.
Okay, and you're okay with
I
that?
haven't been outside the building today.
Okay, any further discussion on this? Then we'll go ahead and do a roll call, please.
Marshall,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
Rotten,
Yes.
Darnell,
Yes.
DePalma,
Yes.
Cordella,
Yes.
Thurman.
Yes, motion carries unanimously. Now we're gonna move to the 2019 No-Haz program. Brandon Township has not participated as a community member of the Oakland County No-Haz program since 2008. However, No-Haz has been accommodating to our residents by allowing them to participate individually and usually charging them a fee of $60 per vote. So we're looking at, the question is if we want to participate in 2019. Based on 150 vehicle participation, the county is estimating the cost to be $7,207.59. We could ask the residents to pay a fee of $10 or $15. Most of them charge $10, or the township picks up the whole cost. So the question is, do we want to do this for next year or not?
How many cars did we have last year?
We haven't done this since 2008.
Yeah, I would like to make the motion to enter into an interlocal agreement with the county for the 2019 No-Haz program and charge Brandon participants $10 per vehicle.
I'll support.
So what would our cost turn out to be?
It
Depends on
really,
how many
it
vehicles we
depends.
have?
$6.15.
Yeah, it's not fair to say the $7,000.
That's what I was
because it
gonna
may
say, 'cause
not.
we don't get that many
Yeah,
vehicles.
it all depends on the number of cars, and I'll make the same arguments that I made last time. I don't think that we're small enough that we don't need to do this every year. But I think to offer this every 2 or every 3 years, if it just keeps a few gallons of fuel or something out of the back 40 and out of our water table, I think it's worth it. I know it's expensive, but I think when we say, well, residents, you can pay the $60 and go do it yourselves, they're not gonna do it because $60 is too much. But $10 is just enough that allows people to clean out their basement, clean out their garage, without going and just taking a half can of paint or something. It's enough that we make sure that they have things that they need to get rid of. But working at the spring cleanup, there was so many people that asked about that. You know, we were accepting at that, we were accepting paint as long as it was packed in kitty litter and blah, blah, blah. But I think it's important to look. I know that I had an issue, you know, 5, 6 years ago where I had a bunch of extra kerosene. I had nowhere, I didn't have anywhere to get rid of it. And everyone I asked, they said, just go burn it off in your backyard or go dump it out in the backyard. And I wasn't gonna do that. And finally I found somebody that was willing to burn it in their oil tank. I didn't even know you could do that, but they did. And fortunately I was able to get rid of it safely. And it's important to keep this out of the water table.
So do we pay no matter what, or do we get, if we get 20 cars, then we pay a fee, and then this $10 that each was charged comes off of that fee type of a thing? Or are we automatically charged a set amount?
We're automatically, I mean, the way they break down the price.
That's what I'm trying to figure out.
It seemed to me like it was just $36.15 per car.
But then it says estimated administrative
And then
fee based
there's
on
an administrative
An
fee.
estimated administration fee based on participation. So are those two like a flat fee that no matter what your population is 15,000 people, you're gonna have this much, and then your administrative fee based on how many people participate is this much, so no matter what, you're gonna pay that even if no one attends. And then per car, it's $36.15.
Right, and if you look up here, it says the records show that for the 4 collections so far this year, we had 9, but 2 people really weren't Brandon Township, so that's 7 people.
But that's because it was so
wouldn't be the
expensive.
whole price.
I guess my issue with it is, even if we pay the administration fee and the, based on population, the administration fee based on participation, I don't have a problem paying that. And I wouldn't have a problem even paying the $36.15 per resident, as long as they estimate it at 150. 'Cause there's no way we're gonna have
And that's why
150 people show
that's
up.
why I
They
think
said the
we-
total administrative fee is $51,745, which includes 5 collection events and is split between all member communities based on population and participation numbers.
We had 252 back in 2008. I believe they're gonna charge you by how many people actually use the service.
And that's why I think it's a good idea to have at least a $10 homeowner skin in the game, because otherwise you could have people showing up literally with almost nothing. And it needs to be worthwhile to be spending $36 on it.
I don't have a problem joining that, I just wanna make sure that we're not paying way
We have to
over.
make sure,
Yeah.
we have to
And
make
this is just for
sure.
1 year, we're not saying that we're gonna do this every year moving forward, but let's see, since we haven't done it since 2008, let's see how it works out for 1 year.
Okay, before we finish though, we have to make sure it says 1 or 2 people from each community are required to work at each of the collection events. Any costs for those people are not factored into the estimate. This can be elected official, staff person, or volunteer from the community. So we have to make sure that we can get 1 to 2 people at each of the 5 events. And a representative from each community is also to attend the Nose Has meetings at least 1 to 3 times per year. If additional communities join the program, additional.
In the past, I've attended the meetings.
Okay, but attending the collections, those are on weekends.
Yep. So we really need a commitment from the board to at least go to one of them.
Yeah, and I can't guarantee that until I know the dates.
I'll go to one as a
Schedules.
resident,
I mean, that's,
you know, I'll be happy to
vacation
just
or
go do
my
one.
kids, so.
I felt strongly about this long before I was on this board, so.
I think it's a good thing, I just hate to commit to something if we don't know when the dates are, and I know it could be,
And it says it's most likely gonna be in Orange Township, which isn't too far away.
well, they were actually located in Oxford, Independence, Rochester, Pontiac, and Waterford were the 5 sites. So they're gonna have all those 5 sites that we need to have 1 or 2 people at.
So they're probably gonna swap one of those out for Orion for next year.
Or add another site. If they get one.
Same locations in 19, but I'm hoping to find a suitable site in Orion Township for the section next year. That could be 6.
And there will be a little bit of extra cost, because it'd be silly for us to go to all this effort and then not properly advertise it. So we're gonna have some advertising fees on top of that. But it just seemed to me that a lot of people were asking about that during the spring cleanup.
And I agree with Scott, I don't think we need to do this every single year, but we should do it every other year, every 3rd year. So our residents would save up for the collection.
First meeting's November 7th.
Yeah, they don't have our, they don't have affection dates, so to see.
No, not yet.
That's what
They'll
they'll
come out
probably do.
later.
So from reading the suggested motion, there's no hard, set, fast dollar amount,
No.
other than $10 per vehicle. So we're leaving that open-ended?
Yeah.
So then what are we committing to?
We're committing to, entering the program and covering everyone from our township that participates.
Okay, so there's no hard and fast. So
No.
if only 5 people show up, we're only paying for 5 people?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, except an administrative fee is
Right,
broken
yeah, I
down
get
based
that,
on-
yeah.
And somehow Groveland is, you know, they have fewer people than we do, and they found it worthwhile every year. And they're doing it every year.
After 2008, the economy tanked and we were struggling with our
Understood.
funds. I think we're in a much better place now
Right.
and we can afford to do this.
And we'll get a report of
For
how many
residents.
cars so we can see if it's worth it or not.
Right. Okay, any other comments or discussion on this item? I have a motion by trustee Marshall, and it is seconded by clerk Allen, to enter into an interlocal agreement with the county for the 2019 NOHAS program and charge Brandon participants $10 per vehicle.
Trustee Broughton
That was my
made the
motion.
motion.
Yeah, it wasn't me.
Sorry.
I was sitting on the fence.
The other big guy.
Your voice.
Hopefully Lena had the right person.
I did.
Okay. Any other discussion on this? Let's do a roll call, please.
Allen,
Yes.
Broughton,
Yes.
Pennell,
No.
DePalma,
Yes.
Cordella,
Yes.
Marshall,
Yes.
Thurman,
Yes. Motion carries. Okay, last item, Senate Bill 637 resolution. So Senate Bill 637 would enact the Small Wireless Communication Facilities Deployment Act. And it would do a whole bunch of things. Which is presented. And I've been sending a lot of email updates out to the board regarding this, and it looks like they are trying to revise this bill. But I still think it would be important if we made a statement on where our position is on this so that we can send it to our legislatures and legislators, and they, you know, it would help in the way they're revising this.
I agree.
So,
So you making the motion?
I don't have to read all of it.
I was actually asking Kathy.
Oh, yeah, okay, Kathy.
She put it together.
Yeah, that'd be good. She knows it.
do you want, I can read those.
Out loud.
Sure. No, it's just the front page.
Okay.
Oh.
I don't know, it's just.
It's not bad.
Okay.
Whereas the regulation of the public right-of-way is a fundamental power of the township as a local government to exercise on behalf of its residents, and whereas it is wholly appropriate for local governments to achieve such regulation through, among other things, license agreements, and whereas through such agreements, local governments have the ability to, among other things, require co-location of facilities on a single pole, which prevents the proliferation of poles, require telecommunication companies to provide additional capacity for municipal uses, which is an essential component of these types of private uses and of a public asset, address the aesthetics of installations in the right-of-way outside of historic or residential districts, establish fiscal responsibility for removal of small cell facilities and restoration of the right-of-way when the devices become functionally obsolete or inoperable. Require free Wi-Fi services in public areas, which is both a competitive and equity issue. Whereas Senate Bill 637, if enacted into law, would severely preempt and therefore limit these regulatory powers, and whereas increasing access to telecommunications services is a social equity priority that providers do not voluntarily meet unless required to do so by regulation. Accordingly, any deprivation of the township's regulatory power will exacerbate the digital divide separating its residents, and whereas as telecommunications providers move toward wireless communications and away from cable connections, the primary funding mechanism for local access television networks will evaporate, and transferring this resource of income to emerging technologies that require use of a public access is wholly inappropriate. And now therefore be it resolved that the Brandon Township Board of Trustees oppose enactment of Senate Bill 637 and directs the township supervisor to communicate the township's opposition to elected officials at the state government who represent the township's residents. Be it further resolved that the township clerk is authorized to submit a true copy of this resolution to the members of the Michigan legislature and the office of the governor of the state of Michigan. Any other discussion on this? Would someone like to make a motion to approve the resolution to oppose Senate Bill 637, small wireless facilities, as presented?
Second.
That time it was trustee Marshall. Okay, I have a motion to approve the resolution to oppose Senate Bill 637, small wireless facilities, as presented, and that motion is by trustee Marshall, and it is seconded by trustee Cordella. Is there any further discussion on this? We all want to go home? Okay, roll call, please.
Broughton,
Yes.
Darnell,
Yes.
DePalma,
Yes.
Cordella,
Yes.
Marshall,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
Thurman.
Yes, motion carries unanimously. That completes our new business. At this point in time, we will take citizens' comments on anything.
Please excuse me just for a minute, I'll be right back.
Yeah, okay,
Keep carrying on.
all right. So we will take citizens' comments on anything. Are there any citizens that would like to make a comment?
I got one.
Okay,
Just a
yes.
question.
Please state your name first.
Dave Burley, Sleepy Hollow. This is a property plan for the 5 homes in question. One of them is a group home. The one across the street that you know about, 300 Sleepy Hollow, don't know if it's going to become one. My question is, if this is a shared line on the property plot, the dimension between those 2 houses is 0. So that means it can't become a group home, correct? That's a yes or no.
If this is in place, if we adopt this in place, yes.
But if it slides in before the 22nd, then it would be a grandfather.
We're not sure.
More than likely. I mean, I do a lot of work for bowling, so some grandfathers work, beat the date, you're good. So, but you're saying that if it's after the 22nd, now is that if you apply for a license before the 22nd? Is that I'm thinking I bought a place and that was my intention. I applied for a license before you put a law into effect. I'm good. I was gonna say, I did this all before you put that law into effect. It doesn't affect me.
I think that would have to come back maybe to the board for a discussion to see how we wanted to proceed on that particular issue, if that comes up that way.
Because I don't think you can go backwards, can you? You can't make something retroactive on a law like that.
Procedurally, though, I would think that would be a question for the attorney.
Actually, in the case that
Yeah.
we're basing this on,
Yeah.
it did go back, so, yes.
That's why I wondered, I heard you say that earlier.
I guess my question on it would be, does it go from the date of application or the date of approval?
In the case it didn't matter, it was an existing facility.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we would follow up with the attorney.
And we've been trying to do this for a while now, so it's not like we just did this all of a sudden. We've been working on this since May.
So it sounds like a firm we don't know.
That's, I wasn't gonna say it. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
Rick Gibbons, Ortonville. Bringing up the speed study, you guys have been a year and a half trying to get this done. And it's not any of your doing, I know, but what is the holdup? I mean, why can't they get it done in a year and a half?
I'll talk to you after the meeting.
Okay.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to make a citizen's comment? All right, seeing none, at this time we will do board comments. So we'll start down with Chris this time. Board comments on anything, if you'd like to make a comment.
I have nothing.
Trustee Marshall.
Since the fire chief is here, we can clarify something on the
Yes.
schedule. I had mentioned the fire board meeting tomorrow morning at 10. Is that still a go or
No, it's Friday.
Friday?
Yes, it's Friday.
Okay, I will not be available on Friday.
Okay.
Maybe it won't be Friday.
All right, I got it on my schedule for tomorrow, so.
I think the question he really wants answered is it tomorrow?
No, it is not. Tomorrow.
Okay.
Because there was an email that went out that if you were available Friday, I believe.
And you would reply that you were.
Oh.
Really? Let me check. Okay.
That's
fine.
I may very well be. Let me check. I thought I was heading out of.
I didn't mean to throw you under the bus, but.
All right,
I like you,
fine.
Ed.
Thanks, boss. At 10 a.m.?
Yeah.
Okay. I will delay my trip just for you.
No, don't do that.
I have nothing further.
Okay. Quick, Alan?
I want to thank everybody that put Septemberfest together. It was great for the community, and I know it's a lot of work, and what we hope is hope it gets less rain.
Okay, thank you. I think we answered the questions that came up regarding Sleepy Hollow and the 500 foot, where is it measured from, and the appeal, where we are in the appeal to Lara, so I really don't have anything more to add.
I have nothing, thank you.
Trustee Palmer?
I can't think of anything else. Thank you.
Okay. Trustee Brown?
It's October 1st, so I can say it, happy haunting. That's all.
All right, thank you.
Right.
That completes our meeting. Who would like to make a motion to adjourn? I have a motion by trustee DePalma. Who would like the second?
Second.
Okay, and that is seconded by trustee Cordella. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay.
I feel like
Meeting's adjourned.
I feel like a pirate when I say that. Aye.
Nope, I never get any.
All right.
Second again.
What you got?